Hello and welcome to the Animation Kimmunication podcast, your source for discussion about animation, film, fandom, and more. So please join your host, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, or KP, and Lauren Kizich, the Abbey Roadie, for today's discussion. If you like what you hear, please remember to support by giving a like, a follow, as well as subscribing to the main I Love Kim Possible a Lot channel on YouTube. Spread the word and keep being a part of a great community. This episode is appropriate for all ages.
Hi everyone, welcome to a very special, important episode of Animation Kimmunication where we actually have people from the movie that we really hinted at you to talk about or watch before this episode. But if you haven't seen Animal Crackers yet, you can go watch it on Netflix. It's there for free, I assume, if you have a Netflix account, because most people in the world, maybe in America, do. I don't know. I gotta look up the stats. So,
I was gonna say, yeah, the Animal Crackers distribution was mostly, well, in terms of the American distribution, I believe that was the biggest issue in terms of, instead of an international release, it was when it was the U.S. distribution, that's when it got messed up. But anyway, you continue.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, you thought we just got like some concept artist or something, but not on Animation Kimmunication. We get the directors of the movie because we need. Well, Lauren knew Tony already, so it's cool. It's fine. So yeah. So if you want to skip this section, you can. But we're gonna talk about some light stories in the news, essentially. But they're good stories. I have a story. I have a story in a story to go along with it, and I'm very. I think it's a funny story, so if you want to hear it, I recommend it. But Lauren, you can go first, since I'm going to talk a lot for the news segment. What do you want to talk about news-wise?
Okay, so the sitch this week, the Emmy nominations just came out, and yes, I know this whole year has been thrown off in terms of award season schedules and everything, but the Emmys will be coming up in September, and they just announced all the nominees on all the different categories. And in terms of animation, some of the nominees include Big Mouth, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, BoJack Horseman, and Rick and Morty. And then there's actually been a few nominees that were actually in Central Park. If nobody's seen that one, same people that created Bob's Burgers. That one was also nominated for one of the songs. So I thought that was pretty cool that there were actual musical episodes that, one of them was an animated episode that got nominated. So we'll see how that goes as the award season draws, award season part 2 Electric Boogaloo draws near.
Air quotations.
Yep, this is award season 2 Quarantine Boogaloo. So anyway. And actually, it's funny because I still haven't been able to sit down and watch Central Park, even though I have Apple TV or whatever, the little box. So, and I guess you can watch.
I swear to God, I'm gonna one day I'm gonna text you and like, Lauren, can I have your Disney Plus passcode, because I want to watch Phineas and Ferb, but my dad doesn't want to buy it. Like, I think I said this on another podcast, but originally I have two younger brothers, and the youngest brother is really into Star Wars, hence. One of the dogs we have is named Chewbacca, and he is brown, and his collar is the sash of Chewbacca, but it's a collar. Anyway, I don't know. His whole room is covered. He has all the expensive lightsabers, all of them, even Kylo Ren's, which is the coolest.
Man.
Yeah, and then he has the Yoda that talks and stuff. He used to have the little BB-8, the expensive BB-8, but he's just I'm bored of this after an hour, and it was fair. But anyway, so he would buy it because he wanted to watch The Mandalorian, but now that The Mandalorian's first season is done, he's like, I'm not going to pay for this until Mandalorian season 2 comes out. So he originally bought it again for Clone Wars, and then he did the same thing. He's like, you can pay for it if you want. Wow. And I'm just like, So, if Lauren, if you see a Kim Possible icon on your Disney Plus, you know it's me. Because that's actually an option. And I was proud because it was on the release. They only have Kim Possible as far as the Kim Possible characters, but at least they still had her. So I give them props, because I was just like, should I be Simba or should I be Ariel? And I'm like, I wonder. And I'm like, oh, I gotta be Kim Possible, And my dad was like, why weren't you Ariel? And I'm just like, Dad, I gotta be on brand.
Excuse me, are you the internet? Do you know who I am?
Don't you know I legally love Kim Possible a lot, TM? Anyway. Okay, so the story I wanted to share.
Just go with your headline. Go.
The story that I wanted to share, because we're only doing 2 headlines today, because like the main show is the priority. But I was really excited because I saw this on Instagram, and I was like, Lauren, look at this, and we were both like, yeah. So last year Disney did an exclusive line of like very fancy dolls. Essentially, they're like designer dolls where they have a theme, and I think they do this for D23 every year, and D23, for those who don't know, is like DisneyCon, but it's run by Disney, so they do like official stuff, and they have showrunners there and like the whole thing. So we were probably going to go to D23 this year, but like, Corona. So, you know. But anyway, so last year they did a, there was one exclusive D23, Giselle, which she doesn't get dolls made of her that often because I guess they couldn't secure the rights from Amy Adams for her likeness. So I don't know how that worked out, but you know, so the theme was masquerades. They had Belle, and they had Rapunzel, and they had Cinderella, and I think they had Sleeping Beauty. But the really cool thing about that line is they had 2 characters that are normally not part of the Disney Princess line, so they're relatively rare characters. Specifically, they were characters that, haven't had dolls made out of them for like 20 years. So they had Meg in the line from Hercules, which she has a really cool outfit. And then and then there was Esmeralda, part of that line too. And I was just like, oh my God. So I'm going to tell the story that I want to tell. So, as far as like my animated muses go, I've always as far as just aesthetic looking. So Ariel, I've always loved Ariel. And then Esmeralda, I love Esmeralda. I love the way she looks. I really like the way Korra looks from Legend of the Korra too. Like, they're all very pretty designs where I'm just like, yes, I want. So Esmeralda was one of those characters. So I had a little, like, when the movie came out and I was like 6 or something, math is hard. I had like a plush Esmeralda, like, big doll, where the body was plush and the head was hard. So that was neat.
I remember those. Dude, I remember those dolls. We lived in a totally different time. I feel like they don't make those dolls like they used to.
I mean, they have a couple of them, essentially. But I wanted I don't know what happened to that doll, so I haven't seen it around. But I wanted a regular Esmeralda Barbie doll, like the year after for Christmas one year. And this was before the internet was really a thing. And also, my mom doesn't know how to internet at all. She still doesn't really. I had to like help her with Zoom meetings or whatever, doctor's appointments lately, so it's great. But anyway, so I was like, that was what I wanted for Christmas. I was like, I want the Esmeralda doll, and I'm just like, just the regular one, not anything fancy. And so I go and ask Santa, because even though I'm Jewish, we still celebrated Christmas. My mom was Catholic, but she converted. But also, like, I feel like most people these days celebrate Christmas just, like, for the festivity, because, like, people don't really think about it. But when you're not Christian and you see the Santa stuff everywhere, especially when you're a child and your school is doing, like, let's do Santa stuff, let's make ornaments, you feel, like, weird, really. So a lot of people that aren't Christians still celebrate Christmas for the sake of, the commercialized, folklore aspect, which I think is fine. So we did that. And so I go to Santa and I'm like, I want the Esmeralda doll. And my mom, knowing that the doll wasn't in the stores anymore, because it was like a year after the movie came out, told the Santa that I couldn't have that. Told him to tell me that I couldn't have that. And I was just like, no, I want the Barbie doll. I want it. So my mom, in her, like, I guess her infinite wisdom of, I guess, whatever. So I got, like, a holiday Barbie. Like, it wasn't even, like, a Disney Barbie. And I'm just like, that's not what I asked for. Like, I don't, like, Santa has a workshop. Like, he can make specific Barbie dolls. Like, and if this happened, like, in 2000, this happened, like, 99. So if this happened, like, 2005, my mom maybe could have just interneted it. Mm-hmm. So one year, we do Team KP Secret Santas, so one year I told, the person who ended up being my Secret Santa that story, and he got me He bought me a lot of things because he felt bad, but not anything expensive, like little trinket things. And one of them was the regular Esmeralda, and I was very happy. I took that with me when I moved to LA. And then when the Masquerade doll came out, I was just like, I need it. Like, I usually don't need stuff. I'm a very minimalist person, except for like stupid stuff. Well, we'll keep this episode clean, so stupid stuff. So shout out to Gobo. So Gobo, my fan server, was like, I'll buy you the Esmeralda doll. And granted, the Esmeralda doll was like $170. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So like, I was so excited though when I got it because it's beautiful. And I like it. I'd sleep like next to it because I'm just like, I just want to touch it. So anyway, that's a long-winded story to tell you that because of, I assume, the Masquerade doll success, especially for the characters that are not really available generally, like, you can generally get all the Disney princesses whenever, like, at Target, like, it's pretty easy. So, but they now have a Disney Store exclusive line either coming out or it just came out of Disney heroines. So they're not Disney princesses, but they're still getting dolls made out of them. So they include Meg, they include Esmeralda, they include Wendy, and I think the other one is Tinkerbell and Alice from Alice in Wonderland, which I'm kind of surprised did they have a Tinkerbell doll for the Tinkerbell like DVD series, Lauren? Like, did they have those?
Good question. I feel like given the success of the Tinkerbell movies, I feel like they did, and I just was not in that boat to see that kind of, like, I was not paying attention to it as heavily at the time that it was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I did see like the first couple movies, and actually I did enjoy them. But it was just not my demographic at the time. Mind you, I was like in high school.
Yeah, we were all making fun of them because I'm just like, oh, I guess this is what John Lasseter chose to replace the Disney sequels. I guess this sucks a little bit less, but Tinkerbell is very out of character in those. It's not important. But anyway, so and a lot of the dolls specifically are better versions and better molds of the dolls than were available in like the 90s. Like the Esmeralda doll is worlds better than the Esmeralda doll that I have from when the movie came out, because her face mold actually looks like her and not just generic, like, Romani colored Barbie doll, with different eye color. So she has more like bigger eyes and more general features and flat feet, thank God, because that's like one of her things. So she has flat feet. I think they all do, actually, maybe except Alice. But all the dolls are relatively movie accurate from what I could tell. And, if you want to, I'd recommend buying them because I would like this line to be permanent. That'd be nice. It's like, even if it's just in Disney stores, like, whatever. Like, I feel like the little girls who are like, I want Esmeralda, or I want Meg, or I want even like Wendy, to have access to them. And especially if the line does well, then maybe we can get even more rare characters, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head that would be, besides Eloise, but I think that would be a really big risk. So maybe.
Oh yeah, like anything Black Cauldron is a huge risk.
They're starting to put a little Black Cauldron stuff out there, but it's very minute stuff. So
Yeah, that's why they're testing the waters to see how people will respond to it. But given it's like such a novelty to get anything from that movie, I think it's cool, especially if you're like a Disney pin trader / collector like me. For anything that's like a particularly special pin, like a collector's pin or anything like that, like I'd totally jump on a Black Cauldron one if I knew where one was. So it's it all depends on supply and demand. But yeah, there's like, and actually usually how I am as a pin trader is that I usually get pins when I go to the parks, and it's to like mark. It's almost like a timestamp. It's marking anytime I go to the park. And there'll be like, okay, I get at least one pin from there to mark. Okay, this was a Merida pin from 2012 because I got it the weekend Brave came out, and I happened to be going to the Disney parks the same weekend that it came out. wasn't the biggest fan of Brave. First 20 minutes were the strongest part. Rest of it's meh. But I still, I can at least still say it wasn't Good Dinosaur. So
at least there's that.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Good Dinosaur. I mean, I still respect that you are you tried your best in the Pixar lineup, and I mean there are good aspects to it, but in terms of taking critique and stuff like that, it just seemed like the story could have been done so much stronger. And I did find enjoyment in the cowboy T-Rexes, though, out of that. That was my favorite part.
I haven't seen Good Dinosaur, and I'm not, unless I need to, I probably won't end up seeing it. So, I mean, the designs are cute, I guess.
I did win a contest on DeviantArt back in 2015 when the movie came out. It was they were doing all this promotional stuff leading up to the film's release, and DeviantArt did a banner design contest, and I was actually one of the semifinalists or something in that. And so I spent literally and this was when I had a smaller tablet, and this was long before I had an iPad to be able to do all my work a lot faster. It took me a week to make the banner that I made, and I was so proud of it. And that was me just trying to go the extra mile on it, going I gotta make this look right. And they said you can pick any scene that you can think of, or anything you feel relates to the theme of the movie best. And this was before the movie came out, so we're all guessing, right? We're just a boy and his dog story, really. But then I'm but it's also an adventure story. And I like the T-Rexes in the promos because T-Rexes are awesome. I always like those. So I did that. But it was supposed to be, it was some promotional contest, and I think I got DeviantArt points out of it. And then I think I got, did I get some kind of digital gift card out of it? No, I think it was just points.
Yeah, we don't want to pay you,
way,
so
I was featured on,
you get crypto money.
Either way, I was on that page, so I have bragging rights for life with that one. But yeah, anyway, back to the dolls. I swear to God, it was all part of a tangent that related back to this. But yeah, with all these dolls, I didn't grow up as a kid growing up on the Barbie dolls. The one Barbie I do have from when I was a kid was the Millennium Princess Barbie, and that's a collectible Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
You have her on display. You're not supposed to play with her, But and she was a commemorative doll.
Mm-hmm.
So but I was just I was the plushies, stuffed animals, plastic dinosaurs girl. And so, but nowadays if I look at this especially looking at the pictures of the new dolls, and I'm am I gonna cave for that Meg doll?
Yeah,
probably gonna cave for that Meg doll.
I mean, this is kind of the thing. It's so ideally before coronavirus, what I would want to do for the podcast is shoot specific sections and live action depending on the need. So for this, I'd be Lauren, we're going to the Disney store now. So me and Lauren would go and get stupid footage of us going in and buying I'd get the Esmeralda and she'd get the Meg, and we'd be yeah, now we're doll collectors on YouTube now. But something like that. So I probably will buy the Esmeralda doll eventually. I think they're only $20 for all of them, which is much better than the 170 or whatever for the
Oh gosh, the Masquerade ones. I'm if you try to find any of them now, I mean, their prices vary. Some range within the $200, $200 something dollar range, and some of them go way up to the 900s, if not more.
Oh, I'm glad I got Esmeralda then as a when she was just on the Disney
you
site.
Gotta really, yeah, I guess you gotta really dig for some good deals on them, because otherwise, yeah, sorry, you're kind of out of luck if you're looking for anything under $200.
Well, if you're poor and you really want an Esmeralda doll or a Meg doll or an Alice doll, or because Alice is I think an aesthetic now, because I see Hot Topic Cheshire or cat stuff.
Oh yeah, well, Alice in Wonderland is a bizarre thing.
Yeah,
it's a bizarre story, a bizarre world, and the characters are very memorable because of how bizarre it is.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it would actually be something where everybody's going to be wearing the curiouser and curiouser kind of t-shirts and I'm not all there myself. I mean, come on, it's who wouldn't want that kind of the crazy kooky kind of stuff, especially at a Hot Topic / box lunch.
I feel but yeah, if you want any of that stuff, you can go buy it. Probably, I don't know if they're available on the Disney site yet. They probably will be shortly because I've seen people that are buying them, but I don't know if those are like pre-releases or whatever. And
those might be pre-releases,
and
because because I'm looking at the article and it says they haven't been released.
Okay.
There's no release date yet, but they're assuming it's going to be 2020 if they're releasing the images like this now.
Yeah. So, but there are like full images of the box art and everything, and it's also advertisements for the movies because like like these movies sometimes like you won't remember, especially like Hercules is aging pretty well, I think, for the most part. But Hunchback is kind of it's getting better, but it's like I think it will help the live action movie, like one of many will help. But
I feel like now Hunchback is getting much more acclaim and praise nowadays versus when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because again, like crowd response, audience response has changed. The times have changed, people have changed, and in terms of saying something, at the time, people didn't appreciate when that came out.
Yeah.
Or didn't really see how truly important it was until they looked at it in hindsight.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like when you look back at Treasure Planet or you look back at Atlantis or any of those other movies that didn't do as well at the box office. They could have done better, but if you had known to release them maybe now, you have a greater appreciation for it because one, people want to see more 2D stuff.
Yeah.
And because now we're in a 3D generated / live action environment and more people are demanding 2D animation. And two, it's the kind of stories that we are looking to see as well. They're action, adventure, mystery, adult themed stories, like especially Atlantis. So to have something like that be, from Disney, it's getting its acclaim now. Yeah, it was on a bit of a delay, almost 20 years for some of these, and some of them a little over 20. But I feel like now more people are appreciating the kind of, not only the movies, but the stuff that maybe comes with the movies, like the merchandise and stuff, and then maybe ask Disney for that kind of stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Hashtag, like, I hope Kita is next for the Disney not princess, but she's technically a princess line, so I don't know. But yeah, Kita...
Also, can we get more Milo stuff, too? Like Milo and Kita.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so those examples are, I think, will be interesting once the live action films come out for them, like whenever they do. So, but yeah, there's my sad Esmeralda story, so that's why, like, specifically she's a kryptonite for me, because, like, that's one of my favorite movies, and then I was denied access as a child because my mom didn't know how to internet, or the internet wasn't very prominent then, so she's like, how do I buy this doll that's already out of stores? Well, I guess I won't.
Does this mean you were clause blocked?
Yeah. Oh, God. No Christmas presents for Jews, no. Okay. Yeah, so next week we'll probably talk about more Mulan stuff, so come back for next week. Yay. Now to the main part of the episode that I'm sure you guys actually care about. Yay.
As many of you have heard me gush over and over on different podcasts saying, go watch Animal Crackers, go see Animal Crackers.
We tried to tell you guys.
I've honestly been trying to plug for this for a while, so
Thank you.
So I've been really excited for this one. But yeah, so for today's podcast, we have Tony Bancroft and Scott Christian Sava, the directors of Animal Crackers. Yay!
Hey!
Clapping.
I'll clap for you, Scott. There you go.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, and so we have everybody calling in right now, and it's awesome. So I'm really excited that we were able to get everybody together. So I'm excited. So how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. It's hot out here in California right now, and but hopefully it's killing off the COVID virus. In the beginning they said it was going to be like heat sensitive. You remember that? Remember when it first started?
Yeah, no doctors actually said that, Tony.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
I think,
but they said it on Fox News. No.
Yeah, I think that was the hope that maybe in the summer it would go away because it's a cold thing, but that hasn't happened, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, we're really happy to be here, and I love doing these things with Tony because he does most of the talking.
Oops.
And his dog.
My dog. Yeah, hold on.
Featuring Tony's dog.
Yeah.
Special guest to the guests.
I literally didn't know he was in the room. That's so weird. And all of a sudden he started barking. I was like, oh my god.
What's your dog's name?
Max.
Max.
It's like he saw the
so
headphones
Tom's
on. He's
the
like,
one with the
he
dog
doesn't hear
named
me.
Mushu, right?
Yeah, Tom's got Mushu.
Oh my
right?
god,
Oh.
that's
The
great.
animated Mushu. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for having us on the show, you guys. I'm a big podcast fan because I do a podcast with my twin brother. So this is a real honor just to be able to speak about Animal Crackers. The film means so much to Scott and I. And as we sit here, it's been, I think it came out, 2.5 weeks, should we say? What do you think, Scott?
It'll be 2 weeks on Friday.
Ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So like
it feels like 2.5 weeks because of COVID, but no, it's only been I think 10 days. But
We're all stuck in the time warp.
It was number 2 overall, number 1 animated film. It's still the number 1 animated film, and then when that doesn't happen, I'll say it's the number 1 circus related animated film, and then when that does it, I'll just keep clarifying it a little more. But
that's right.
No,
The
it's doing really good.
The number 1 circus film with Danny DeVito, because he's in Dumbo too, or the live action
I think
Dumbo.
there's 3 of them because there's also Big Fish.
Oh,
he was
right.
a circus.
Yeah. I'm like, he keeps
gosh.
finding himself in circuses. I'm like,
He loves them.
What is up with that?
He loves them. I mean, he was I would say he was joyous when he was recording Animal Crackers. I mean, he just loved it. And
He was silly.
Yeah, he was silly. He kept making. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the behind the scenes I've been posting on YouTube and Instagram, but he just he loves making fart noises, which I think is hilarious.
Who does?
So that Chesterfield kept having to do it, but Danny, I know he knows that we can't see him acting it, but he likes to do physical, like he's making the fart noises with his arms and stuff, and and he's very physical when he's doing it, which was really fun.
Yeah.
God bless. I wanted to start.
He was made to be animated.
Yeah,
He was.
I wanted to start by introducing your guys as far as background, because when I heard Lauren got you too, I was just like, oh my god, this is great. So I'm totally not wearing a Lion King shirt right now. It's fine.
Are you? Are you?
Yeah,
I can't even see it. Oh, okay. Oh,
wow.
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So
We'll accept
Don't
that.
have a
Yeah.
Nala plushie sitting over here somewhere.
Bring out Nala.
they slowly,
You can
like
kinda
the
see.
stuff slowly creeps in, essentially. So Tony, just give people a rundown what you did for Disney, and then obviously Scott, your past experience too, just before starting the film.
Okay.
Sure, I've been in the animation industry for over 30 years, which makes me old. It started for me right out of Cal Arts, California Institute of the Arts. My twin brother and I went there. We both loved to draw and all that kind of stuff. Got into Disney straight out of Cal Arts, which was, a real miraculous kind of moment in our lives, because that was our dream, to work at Disney. And then to do that right out of college was amazing, to say the least. And we started at the Disney MGM studios in Orlando, Florida, and then basically closed that studio years later, or at least Tom did. And I worked on films like I did Rescuers Down Under was the first feature. I did cleanup and a little bit of animation on that. Frank the Frill-Neck Lizard. Wood. All we got to do is get the wood. Okay. And then I went on to Cogsworth on Beauty and the Beast. And then I worked on, what came after Beauty and the Beast? I always forget the order. Beauty and the Beast. And Aladdin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Iago the Parrot, the wisecracking parrot, Gilbert Gottfried, which we had in Animal Crackers. And went on to, Lion King. I did Pumbaa, the warthog on Lion King. Helped create that character as the supervising animator. I did a little bit on Hunchback of Notre Dame, but before I got pulled onto Mulan as the co-director of Disney's Mulan. And then ultimately went back in animation after that, working on Kronk in Emperor's New Groove, and then I left Disney.
Is Crunk on your light table in the back over there?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's an awesome setup.
I totally don't have a Cusco llama sitting here on my desk with me.
You sure do, you liar.
Just imagine this for people that are listening. So like Tony has this great setup with like all of his animation stuff in the background, and it's great.
Yeah, I have original drawings from production here. I'll show you. This is what you want to do on a podcast, right? You want to show things.
Oh, that's awesome.
Here's a Kronk angel. I'm probably gonna sell some of these pretty soon online.
It's a robe.
Yeah. Patrick Warburton did a voice in Animal Crackers too. I can't believe it. I mean, when Scott and I were casting the movie, I got to work with three or four different voices that I worked with on other Disney movies, and so that was really cool. That was special for me.
Yeah, it was a big reunion.
Yeah.
So Scott, what was your background? Before,
I'm sorry, Tony. I think next time I should be the opening act, because how am I supposed to follow that?
I know.
Like, yeah, I did Lion King and Mulan and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, and
it's fine.
This is my first movie, so the end.
Okay.
No, I went to art school to be an illustrator, and so I was a painter. I took an internship at Sega of America doing 16-bit games. And so I did old Genesis games, and then I did arcade games and Star Trek covers for Malibu Comics, Mortal Kombat. Then I got to do my dream job of being the artist on Spider-Man.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Then we moved to Franklin, Tennessee, and we had our kids, twin boys, and I started writing books for them, and that's where Animal Crackers came from, and my grandparents are secret agents, Pet Robots, Cameron and his dinosaurs, all of my other stories that I wrote for them. And then 6 years ago, we started making this movie. And that's been a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, sounds easy when he says it that way.
Just a little hop, skip, and a jaunt.
Yeah.
But that's amazing that both of you have like all of this, experience and like in your own respective industries, and how that has come together to make this movie. And speaking of coming together, how did you two initially meet and end up coming up with the idea, hey, let's make a animated feature movie for this?
Well, we first met actually on a panel that we were both on. We had never met before, and we were at Fuller Institute, believe it or not, and we were doing something about faith in comics and animation.
And entertainment.
And entertainment, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd both been asked by a mutual friend to join the panel, and kind of hit it off. I got to meet a couple different people on that panel that I've known now for years, but Scott and I really hit it off because he had a keen love of animation. I love comic books, and I thought it was so cool that he was doing this. He did the Spider-Man CG version of the comic book that Marvel put out, and we were just getting to talk to each other, and I think it was just kind of a mutual admiration society almost instantly.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked Tony because, there was four of us on the panel. It was Van Partible, who created Johnny Bravo, Jim Kruger, and the two of us. And I didn't have to do much talking. A
lot of blowhards, is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. I love having you around because, you can do all the talking and I could sit in the back. But no, it was a really good relationship. And we did hit it off. And it was just around the time that you were leaving Disney and you were starting up Tunacious, right?
Yeah. And it was a time in my life where, as a Christian, I was feeling like kind of a spiritual pull to leave Disney and start my own animation company that was doing faith-based projects. And I did that for about 4 years before we transitioned into doing more work for hire things. And again, that's where my relationship with Scott really started to expand again, because he came back into my life as I called him. We were doing some commercial work, and we had a Hasbro commercial. And I remembered that Scott was, you know, a master of all trades, and he's done CG animation and all this. So I called him up because it was going to be a CG animated, and we were a studio that was doing primarily 2D animation at that time, but wanted to branch into CG. So I called Scott, and he was kind of an all-in-one studio. Him and a couple of his friends and cohorts really animated the whole commercial, and we got to talking again and kind of back into each other's lives, which was cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a little miniature golf game, and this girl, she putts it, and it bounces, goes onto the moon, and it bounces off these alien heads. And I remember Tony was basically giving me training because, you know, back in the late 90s, or, you know, in the 90s when I was learning animation, it was just, computer animation was just, if you could work a computer, you're an animator. There was no training in animation. And so having Tony come in and teach me all the fundamentals, and he was directing the commercial, that was probably the best thing I'd ever animated ever, you know, because I had Tony there directing it. Yeah. And so it just made it was such a good little, cute little thing. That was just such a fun thing. And I knew we really, really liked working together. And God, that was almost, I want to say, yeah, that was about 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Around 2002-ish, maybe.
That's how long ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And Scott was always the idea guy, you know. I was the animation guy, the drawing guy, I guess. But Scott was always the idea guy, and we would just go out to lunch, and we'd kind of dream about what it would be to animate your own feature films. And we were starting to really get into developing our own ideas and our own concepts for feature films at my company, Tenacious. And Scott had all these great graphic novels because that's how he started, and he was, you know, illustrating and getting his own ideas illustrated as graphic novels. And one of them was Animal Crackers, and I remember seeing it early on. And I think it was those early conversations and those dreams, really kind of dream casting of what would it be to make our own animated feature. Little did we know that it would take another, 15 years before we actually got together. And, you know, I mean, that was 15 years of just making the film, but, you know, it was another 5 years before we started getting serious about it. And probably when Scott first went out looking for investment, and another 5 years after that, he got investment, and then we were able to start kicking off like pre-production, and the whole film took about 2 years to complete?
Yeah, 2.5 years to make, and then 3 years of sitting.
Yeah. We finished it in, I mean, that's the big part of the story that I know people like to talk about, is that it was a journey making this film, Animal Crackers, from the dream casting that we had earlier on to actual finishing it in 2017 and going out to Annecy International, which is a animation film festival in France. Happens every year, and we actually premiered it there in 2017. Got a lot of great accolades, and, you know, Variety and Hollywood Reporter gave us these great critiques and reviews. There was people all of a sudden, you know, knocking on Scott's door asking for distribution and talking about deals and things like that. And we thought, oh, this is going to happen. This is going. And then it was, I mean, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about there, Scott.
Oh, God, no.
It was kind of nightmare after nightmare after that of meeting and connecting with kind of the wrong Hollywood people that all just wanted, in their greed, just wanted a piece of this film for nothing, and then suing for this and that and legal stuff and
bankruptcies, and yeah, it was crazy. It was really, really crazy. And I mean, we're at the point where we're still in disbelief that the movie's even out there. It's just, you know, it's really still hard to believe because we've been living with it for so long. And and you go through those 3 years of just, will anybody see this, you know? And we were really proud of it. We really poured our heart and soul into it, and to just have it just sit for 3 years. And I would go onto Twitter, and I would, you know, plead, and I would, you know, I've always been the vocal one for that, because, you know, there's two different minds when it comes to Hollywood. There's the don't rock the boat, and then there's the boat rockers, I guess. But
Scott's a boat rocker.
I'm a boat rocker. Yeah. I mean, I just, I hate bullies. I hate bullies, and so I try to stand up, and I don't have a lot of followers. I don't have a lot of power, but I can't sit by and not say anything, and that's that's the way I react to this stuff, and I try never to be mean about it, but if there's an injustice, I have to say something, and but unfortunately in Hollywood, that usually tends to give you a bad reputation. He's a boat rocker, I like that Tony guy. He doesn't rock the boat. He does good stuff, So we make a good team that way, because Tony is beloved, and I worry that sometimes I'm ruining his career these last 3 years by I was like, really, I'm so sorry, Tony.
I feel like I have to respond to that now. From my point of view, Animal Crackers was a creative joy. It was, because it was me and Scott and Jamie Thompson, the main producer on it and creative producer, and it really came down to just a real small handful of us, the three mostly that I just talked about, plus our screenwriter also that worked on it with Scott. And we really worked through a lot of the story stuff. It was such a small group that I really enjoyed that freedom. That was the opposite that I had working at Disney, right? So when you're when I was directing a film like Mulan, it's kind of way too many kitchens and cooks in the kitchen, and too many kitchens at that too. And it was just always constant input, and it was so hard to oftentimes to see your unique vision and see it through and be consistent and all that kind of stuff, and it just added a lot of stress level, whereas this was just kind of like Scott always says, creative bliss. It really was. It was like from day one we just had fun, and there was nobody to stop us, not an investor, not a studio executive. Nobody was there to stop us, so we could just kind of go, oh, that sounds funny, we should do that. And there was almost like this pause of like, yeah, but we can't do that. Oh, wait, no, we can. We can. Yay!
I think that's why the Queen song fits us so perfectly. Don't stop me now.
Yeah. That was kind of an anthem.
It was. I mean, it really was so fun. I remember we were sitting around looking at the storyboards, and there was a segment of the movie where Ian McKellen is monologuing. And this was, we're just like, it's Ian McKellen. He could read the phone book and it'd sound great, but it's like, well, how do we spice this up? How do we, and I guess it's typical me. And I was like, well, what if he breaks out into song? It was like, well, there's a couple problems with that. One, we don't know how to write music. And two, he's a Shakespearean actor. He doesn't sing. And it's like, we'll figure it out. We'll just go for it. And sure enough, we went out and we got Dan and Swampy, who created Phineas and Ferb. They wrote us a song, and then we somehow convinced Ian McKellen to do a duet with Gilbert Gottfried.
The only movie where you can say this happens, by the way.
Yeah, but I think it's just
movie, yes.
It's that kind of absurdity that just was so fun. We just had fun with it, and I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to, so I love it that Tony can compare it to working for Disney and doing Mulan, and that he loved doing it so much. But it really was how I'd always envisioned making a movie. I mean, meeting the stars and working with the musicians and just having pure my very first movie, I didn't have all of those limitations and restrictions that every other movie maker does, and so I'm totally spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, it was There's just not much to add to that except for the first amazing thing that happened, because when we first started on it, it was like, let's make a cute little film, and kind of like, I've got a garage and you've got a script and I can do voices, let's just put on a show. And it really started that way. And Scott brought in the first $10 million, $11 million that got it underway. And we thought that's all the money we would have. But then we started going after, we created a wish list of the actors that we wanted to work with and represent the characters. And Scott had already had this huge, I mean, I was looking at his first initial wish list. I'm like, we're never going to get these people. I mean, just having worked at Disney, we never would have gotten the cast that we got.
And I want Danny DeVito, and I want Ian McKellen, and I want this. And Tony's like, you'll get nothing and like it, Spalding.
Go sit in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, but that's the thing that I love about Scott too, is that because he has that kind of renegade, anti-Hollywood kind of attitude, there's also that element of like, why can't we? We should at least try, and let's just do it. Let's just go after him. And sure enough, it was Ian McKellen that agreed first. And he had just, his agent and he, I guess, read the scripts, liked it. And that was the thing that we had going for us. Scott and his co-writer, Dean Laurie, had written a really nice script. And I had written, read a lot of scripts at that point for other independent animated features. And when Scott presented me this script that he had written, it was the best thing I had read in quite a while. It had heart, it had charm to it. It was a great family story. There was a lot of humor to it. So I could already, it was just like setting off all these images and excitement in my head, just reading the script. And that's always a great sign. And then, and a lot of great animation moments too, that I could see coming to life. And we just pushed that. It just continually went into like, when we started creating the songs, and some of the visuals and stuff in the songs are some of my favorite moments because they're just spectacular and otherworldly and things that you don't see in a live action Danny DeVito circus movie. So so that was really cool. But yeah, once we got Ian McKellen, then all of a sudden some of these other offers that we had out, I think it was Sylvester Stallone and Danny DeVito were next.
Yeah,
right?
They were next.
And they were like, oh, you got, it adds credibility. You get Sir Ian McKellen in your film, Gandalf, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's interesting. Well, I wouldn't have considered that, because we were a nothing, nobody little studio. We were like this little engine that nobody had heard of. And I had some credits, and we had some other great people in our team that had some credits, and Jamie Thompson, who was our casting director and voice director, he had some awesome credits and relationships. That all helped. But at the end of the day, we were an unknown studio that had never made an animated feature altogether. And there was really no reason that these big actors should have taken a chance on us. But for some reason, and I really think that was like the first miracle of Animal Crackers, they all started coming on. And then it was like down to Owen and Zoe, our last characters to cast. And we didn't know. We didn't know what to do with those characters, especially Owen, who was the main star of the movie. Mm-hmm. He wasn't cast. And I don't know, do you want to tell a little bit about how?
Yeah, I'll tell the story because this is funny.
This is your embarrassing story.
It is embarrassing, yes. This is embarrassing for me, and so it's better that it comes from me. So picture it's 2014. We've got the whole cast is there. Everybody but Owen and Zoe. And Jamie Thomason, our casting director, says, I'm going to run a name by you, John Krasinski. And I said, never heard of him. I'd never seen The Office. Sorry, it wasn't anybody that I knew. And he's like, well, trust me, he's really funny. Okay, I trust you. So Tony and Jamie send me some clips, and sounds like a really funny guy. Okay, good. So I fly out to from Nashville to Los Angeles, and John Krasinski was the first day, and then Danny DeVito and Raven Simone was the second day. And we go through our session with John, and he's fantastic. He's just amazing. He is Owen. I mean, we're like, okay, this is it. He is hilarious. He's great. He's your everyman. Afterwards, he's packing up, and I'm just go in just to go thank him. This is my first time. Thanks for what a wonderful. It was literally the first day of recording, so this is so good. And he's like, oh, no problem. He goes, I love the script. He goes, my wife really loved the script. She just thought it was so unique. And so I didn't know who he was married to because I didn't know who he was. So I was just like, oh, well, please thank your wife for me. Fortunately, the mics were hot. And Tony comes running in and Jamie comes running in and they're like, would she want to be in the movie? And I'm like, why are you asking this poor man why his wife wants to be in the movie? I mean, we'll find somebody eventually. Just give it some time. Don't be so, and they're like, just shut up. And so John picks up his phone and he goes, hey, babe, you want to be in the film? And she tweets or she, texts back and says, yeah. And that's how Emily came on the film. And it was just, I was like,
it was literally within 5 minutes we had one of the biggest A-list stars attached to the movie.
Yeah.
And it was all because they already had a relationship and she had already read lines against, I think, John, her husband, and kind of really just fell in love with it. It was also just the kismet timing of they had just had a baby. I think they were really into the ideas of being parents. Mm-hmm. So even if you've seen the movie, they go into this when they're driving up, the two characters are driving up in their little minivan to a food cart or fruit stand, and they like go, fruit stand, who wants bananas? And I like to eat apples and bananas. They start singing this song, and that was not in the script.
Yeah.
They just kind of went into it, and we were like, did they write this song?
It's funny because I posted I was filming pretty much everything on my iPhone, like the whole experience. So I posted one of them on Instagram, and you could see Emily starts off, and John's like going, what is she? Okay, I think I see where this is going. And then he kind of comes in towards the second verse, but it was so spur of the moment. They didn't plan that. She just jumped right into it, and he followed along, and it was so good. But Tony and I, we had to go back after their sessions together. We had to go back and re-storyboard all of Owen and Zoe's scenes because they had improvised 50% of it. It was so much, and she was laughing so much that if you look, you'll see in the movie she's always laughing. He's got her giggling. So we just kept it in there. It was their first movie together. They were so excited, and they were just joyous. I mean, they were so funny and so fun and so genuine that it really reflected the heart that I wanted to be in the movie. It really did.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it was their first film together because we recorded them like 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. So we got to think about that was before A Quiet Place. Yeah. And actually, at the end of one of our last recording sessions, it was John that was talking about going off to work on this new film, this new independent that he was making, kind of a horror film. And so I think that was even before he had cast Emily in it. So you could say that the experience of them, they loved working together so much that we inspired A Quiet Place. At least that casting, I think. Otherwise, would he have asked his wife? I don't know.
Yeah.
But they were so great together, and it did feel like with a lot of those moments of them being just truly parents in that. I mean, now that you say it was all just like improvised, I'm like, I felt like it was real in those moments. So now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, I believed it.
Yeah. If you go back and you watch that scene, I wrote, Mackenzie says, I'm hungry. And Zoe says, oh, well, there's a fruit stand. That's all I wrote. Right. So John improvised, well, she's hungry. Do you have any? And she's like, no, there's nothing. Check underneath the sunglasses. I'm looking on this. Look under the sunglasses, And then it was, oh, well, look. I mean, all of that was improvised. I was like, I wrote 2 lines. And it was like, 30 seconds of, stuff that they filled in. And what was really, I really like, and it was really kind of cute because as we were listening to it and we were blocking out the animation, they're arguing, and I don't remember where the idea came from, but it was, well, what if she completely lets go of the steering wheel and she's helping him look in the center console for the thing? And then so we had the car kind of drifting off the road, and he kind of looks up last second and grabs the wheel for her, and that's when she looks up and says fruit. So it's just like all these like little subtle things that were so funny that came because of that ad lib. And it's just really, really cute. I love the swerving off the road. The only thing I would have added if we had a chance would maybe be the sound of, like those little bumps on the side of the road when you're going off the road.
Yeah. Why didn't we do that, Scott?
We never got a chance to, really. We never had that sit-down session.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. It's not too late to change it, is it?
We'll ask Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And actually, I did feel like there were a lot of those moments when you said that they ad-libbed. That the back and forth, even not just them as parents, but them between as husband and wife, saying is that a thing? The whole getting stuck behind a pizza truck thing. And it's like, is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
Totally
it's like that. The whole
it's
back
100% a thing. The other one that they totally ad-libbed was when he's about to eat the bear cookie to scare off Mario. He's like, now open up the back trunk gate, because he couldn't remember the name of it, and so they just kind of went with it. Open up the back trunk gate. What trunk gate? The back thing. The gate. The what? The gate or the lift or the? They were just, and it was just so hilarious. Right. And it's like there's so. I mean, the crazy thing is there's probably only 10% of it made it into the film. I mean, they're just because they would give us like so many different takes just even on the same scene. Right. There was one. That I posted on Instagram. If you go to the Animal Crackers Instagram, you'll see a ton of these. But there was one where when Zoe decides to take over the circus, she goes, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. And he says, Zoe, you can't. You're going to inherit your father's company. She goes, I don't care. I've always wanted to do this. And he goes, well, I've always wanted to play baseball, but you don't see me playing for the Yankees, And there's this whole back and forth. I mean, we just didn't wind up using it, but it is so funny. Just they would probably give us 5 or 6 takes of the same thing, and each one was funnier than the last.
Yeah, and it was really just like as a director, what a great responsibility and job that you have, just going, which one's the funniest? Which one's the best? That's a good problem to have, Yeah. Because oftentimes, I remember at Disney, there was many, I'm not going to name names, but there was actors that we recorded where it was like, oh boy, we're going to have to chop a little piece from this, and we'll use, from this take, we'll use the how are you, and then from this take, it'll be the, and we'll literally edit together a performance. But with these two, like Scott's been saying, there was just such a magic there that it was almost like, let's get out of the way. Let's just move away from them and let them go. Let them go to their place. And they found that happy place.
I think everybody gave us their A game.
Yeah.
As far as the actors go, everybody gave us their A game. I remember this was really funny. Jamie Thomason, our casting director, he noodles every single take, right, Tony? I mean, he will, if you say, oh, look, there's a fruit stand. He'll go, okay, that was really good, Emily. Can you go, oh, look, there's a fruit stand, And they're like, okay, now, can you emphasize stand now? And he'll make that. Now, he didn't really do that much with John and Emily because they were just kind of really going for it. But there was just a funny thing where he was trying to do it to Danny DeVito. And Danny's like, would have none of it, right? I mean, don't you remember? He was just, Danny's like, yeah, I got it, kid. I've done this before, And so poor Jamie, because Jamie's such a control freak. He's like, but I've got to give notes. And so my motto was always, Jamie, let go and let Danny do it. It was just let him do it. Just let him go.
And let Danny.
Let go and let Danny. But Danny was just, I was nervous. It was my first film. And I was nervous that Danny was going to be a curmudgeon because that's the character he always plays. And and a little bit it didn't help that he was like, to Jamie at least, I know what I'm doing. So he's kind of curmudgeon-y, but he just jumped into this joyous, because you're doing a clown, which if you don't do it perfectly, it's scary. And so, and he
goes scary quick.
Yeah, he just did it so wonderfully. It was so fun. And I loved doing it. By the way, I don't know about you, Tony, but I got everybody's autograph. I
did. I did not. I was foolish, and I don't.
You were professional. See,
I didn't get nearly as many autographs. I wish.
I got John's autograph. I got Emily's autograph. I got pictures. I got Emily to send a video to my wife saying hi. I was just we got one for your daughter from Emily too, right?
Yeah, we did get that, and that's still like a prize jewel. My oldest daughter, she was a big fan of Devil Wears Prada.
Oh,
she grew up with that, and Emily Blunt's like first movie, right? And so ever since that movie, she's loved Emily Blunt. And so when I told her that, and she's like, I just would love to be there. I said, we can't have you in the recording session. It's a pretty small space, so you know what? I'll get her to say something to you in a video. And sure enough, Emily was so sweet. And she just said, hi, Caitlin. It's Emily Blunt. And I met your father, and I could see why you don't like him. And, she was like so funny. She was just off the wall. And my daughter I got a lot of brownie points that day when I brought it home.
Yeah, I bet.
We had her do, we had everybody do a message for the studio in Valencia. And Emily's was so funny. She goes, hi, I'm Emily Blunt. I'm playing the part of Zoe. She says, and this is my first professional job with my real life husband, John Krasinski. I'm way better than him.
Yeah, and speaking of the team, I mean, it wasn't just about the cast too. We just had such a wonderful team in Valencia, Spain. So they were our production partners on the film, and so much more than just partners. I mean, I think when you say that these days, especially about an animated film, it's like, oh, well, they're the hired help, and it wasn't like that at all. Our team in Spain were true partners. They were part of the family of making this movie. Yeah. And Scott knew him for many, many years before Animal Crackers came about. He had done some freelance and little gigs with them, commercials and things. And it was a relationship started a long time ago, but they had always wanted to do, like all these animation studios all around the world, their dream is to do an animated feature and really put their name on it and be a part of it. And we were able to give them that in Animal Crackers. And the way they rose to the occasion, whether they had the experience or not, and most of them didn't, was just amazing because they put their true passion, their heart and soul into it. It's exactly what you want. It's what I experienced when I worked at a smaller Disney studio in Orlando, the Disney MGM Studios, Florida studio. We made great films there, Mulan and Lilo and Stitch and Brother Bear, because there was a smallness to it, a familyness quality to the staff, to the crew, that we all loved each other and supported each other and believed in the projects we were making. And that's what we had in Valencia. And I just can't say enough about what they could do.
Yeah. I mean, it was family. It really was. It was family, and they got a treat though. I would send Tony out there as often as possible, and Tony would go and spend.
Is that the treat?
Yeah, well,
we actually made him brownies. That was the treat.
Yeah, but they got to be taught by Tony Bancroft. So he was there teaching them and just shaping the style and the look, and I would see his drawings. He would like one really good one. This one I always love this. Every time you see the scene where Zoe is smashing hamster Owen with her purse, and he comes up, he's like, "But wait, I'm not a hamster or a mouse. I'm a hamster." It's every pose that you see was drawn by Tony. He would draw it out in this beautiful Disney style, and they would copy that shape. And I still wish you kept those drawings. I think you did them digitally, don't you?
Yeah, I did them in Shotgun. They were all digital, so yeah, I don't.
They were gorgeous drawings. Just the flow. Just if you look at them, if you pause those and you look at those shapes, they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And that was Tony sitting with them and just drawing those out, and he would do that all the time, and it was just amazing. I think the hardest part for us was because of the low budget, we could only give notes on 1 out of 10 shots. So for the most part, we just, there wasn't the budget to keep going and to make the changes. But whenever you see a shot that really, really shines, those are the ones where Tony got to sit down and really, really help them out. And so it's like 1 out of every 10 shots is this beautiful shot. No, it just got the extra attention that it needs.
And how you do that is you know, if you're smart about it, you try and hit those, 1 out of 10 shots early in the production. You spend the most time early on, and that's where you're really going over drawings and saying, this is what I want and this is how it should go and think about this. And then after that, you could really step away. And a good animation team, will pick up on what you're looking for, will start to understand the goals and the milestones, and they'll take it on themselves. And that's what we had with the team in Spain, is that I did spend a lot of time early on, but then after that, they started, they just were hitting it out of the park.
You set the bar.
Time.
You kind of set it. You set the bar for them, and then they were able to hit it. And you're right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and another part of that was, how did you get Carter Goodrich on board? Because his designs were a lot of fun.
That's another Scott story. Crazy Scott.
My motto is, it can't hurt to ask. I just, Tony knows everybody in the industry for the most part. And it was just one of those things where Tony was like, well, I kind of know this person, I know that person, I know this person, but, it wasn't one of the things where I think you were working on building the team for a story at the time. And so this was just one of those things where we got off the phone. I went, well, let me go see what I could do. This was like a spur of the moment. I went on to IMDb because I didn't know anybody. I went on to IMDb and I looked up my favorite movies, and I would scroll down to character designer and I would write the names down. And one name kept popping up, and it was Carter Goodrich. And so I was like, okay, let's see if I can find out who this Carter Goodrich is. So I used my Google Foo and I found his website, and I just emailed him and said, contact me. So I was like, okay. And I emailed him and I sent him the little animated short that we had done. And I said, my name is Scott, and I'm making a movie, and it's my first movie, and I'd love it if you come and work on it with me. And he emailed me back a couple days later and said, I'm really busy, but send me a script, and if it's something that I like, I'll consider it. And so I sent it to him, and I think I sent it to him on a Friday, and he called me on a Monday and said, I read the script, I absolutely love it, I'm in. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't get to the part where we don't have much of a budget, so, this isn't Disney, this isn't Pixar, because Carter Goodrich had done Monsters, Inc., Ratatouille, Brave, Despicable Me, Finding Nemo, The Croods. After that, he did Coco. He's done just wonderful, wonderful stuff. But he like everybody else, like the musicians, like the actors, like all of us, we all worked for much less than what would have been a normal rate because they love the project. And Carter came on board, and I remember he was so used to working in the Disney system, just like Tony, that he would send designs. Here's 5 designs of Chesterfield. And Tony and I would go, all right, well, okay, I won't use Chesterfield because Tony and I was the one that Tony and I disagreed on. Yeah. Okay, but we'll say, here's 5 designs for Buffalo Bob. And we go, we like that one. And Tony would say, okay, well, what are the notes? No, he's great. No, I don't understand. It's perfect. No, I don't understand. What, and then he'd get mad. Okay, so you guys are playing games with me. I don't have time for these games. And we're like, seriously, because he was so used to 6 months of reworking it because of, marketing has a few notes, accounting has a few notes, and these people have a few notes, and it was just me and Tony. Yeah. And if Tony and I, like I said, Chesterfield was the only one we disagreed on. But other than that, it was, if Tony and I liked it, it was good. And it took him a good 3-4 months to finally feel comfortable with that, I think.
Right. I almost feel like he was just so used to the industrial pipeline of Disney and Pixar and some of these big studios that it just didn't feel right. Wait, it's got to go through some iterations, right? It can't just be my first vision for this. And it wasn't really. I mean, to tell you the truth, he would give us a stack of like 4 or 5 different versions, and they were all unique and they were all fabulous. So really, it was just going, okay, well, I mean, that's it. That looks perfect. That's great. And we
everything was a work of art with him.
Yeah, and we also wanted him to touch every character, and the only way you can do that on a small independent is to not fiddle so much, to let him kind of go and trust him so that he can go through more characters. And we had a lot of characters and clowns and incidental and animals on top of it, and we wanted him to at least do one pass of every character, which he did.
Yeah, one guy did all of the designs. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to know?
I was
we
gonna
love
say,
this
I'm
stuff, so yeah, you're good.
That's what I was like. I was gonna say, I'm like, you guys can keep going on and on because I'm like, I was gonna say, I'm like, oh well, here I have a question. No, they already covered that.
So the problem is Tony and I can go on and on. Yeah, that's why we're pausing. I think also just so we could breathe.
I was gonna say, your favorite aspect of production. What was each of you, for both of you together, what was your favorite part of production?
I mean, for me, definitely animation. And to me, that's where there's a lot of life. That, as an animator, I learned a long time ago that it's great to have great voices. But that's 50% of the character. The other 50% is what the animator contributes. I love that example that Scott was talking about earlier about the improv that Emily and John gave us in that car scene when they're going towards the fruit stand, because that's a great example of how the animators took an improv moment from John and Emily and improved it by putting in this little, taking the hands off the wheel thing, and then whoa, we got to adjust there and stuff. They're listening to the dialogue, but then they're trying to add so much more to the visuals that takes it farther. And a good animator, that's what they do. And it was just such a joy for me to be able to see these characters just come to life, and that was my favorite part.
I think mine was, I loved waking up in the morning because, I'm in Franklin, Tennessee. Tony was in LA, so he got to go we had a little office, and he got to go work with the storyboard team and with, the other rest of the team. And then there was Jaime, our director in Valencia, Spain. And so he was with the team of 100 people. And so it was just me and my wife. And one of the thing I loved was there was a good year where there was a really good rhythm of I would wake up in the morning, and they're 7 hours ahead of us. So I would wake up in the morning and there would be 50 or 60 shots in the software, Shotgun, that I would get to go and give notes on. And basically it's whatever little notes or approvals. And I love that. I love that, just that solitary. My wife would make some scones and I would drink some tea and I would just sit there and I'm making a movie, in the comfort of my hobbit hole.
Like a British little animation director. Yeah.
But it was a really nice rhythm that I remember just really enjoying, and because everything was so chaotic at the beginning and so chaotic at the end, there was a good period of time where we just were content because we were making a movie and things were kind of just cruising, and I remember that, and I really, really just I miss that.
Yeah, making an animated film is like watching, paint dry oftentimes because it's such a long and arduous thing. But you got to love the process. You really do. You have to kind of take in every moment, every day, and go, no, there are subtle changes that are happening. There's things that are improving every single day. And so if you're really into the minutia of making animation, there's little joys that happen every day that keep you going.
Yeah, it's all in the subtleties when it comes to animation and how much you can get into a performance and how much an animator is a performer. They're just putting that energy into their own creation, and it's always, you got to love the process, absolutely, because of how much goes into it. And it was clear how much went into this movie and how much went into the designs, how much went into character animation, how much it went into, every shot is so colorful and so incredible that it was just a joy to watch all the way through, and I felt that. it felt like this was a long time coming, and it built up to this moment, and seeing it all come together was fantastic. So
thank you. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I mean, honestly, like I said, up until 10 days ago, we never thought the movie was going to come out. It was just, I mean, we had just kind of resigned to the fact that, it was a good experience, but no one's ever going to be able to see it. And
I mean, literally, Scott and I would call each other over the last couple of years and, just check in. I would call Scott on a Monday morning. Hey, man, how's it going? What's the word? And he would tell me all these laments. And I would try and pick him up. I mean, I think that's what we did for each other over the drought of distribution hell was, try and pick each other up. Because there was definitely times where I'm like, this is not going to happen. Nobody's going to see this. It just didn't seem fathomable in my mind that people wouldn't see this movie. We had put so much effort into it. There was so much love and passion and, A-list talent apart and attached to this film that I thought there's just no way it's not going to come out. And yet it wasn't. And that was the most astonishing thing to me, I guess, is that you could put that kind of work and effort and love into something and then still have a difficult time selling it to people that they can't see it. It just seems so obvious that, we had something unique there. But, when you're a parent of something that you create, like we were of this, you kind of start to doubt yourself and go, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just think my teenage son doesn't have pimples,
Yeah. Well, it was, one of the things that I did really appreciate too was, you would call me, Bear McCreary would call me, Patrick Warburton would call me, Huey Lewis would call me, Michael Bublé would call me. Everybody was trying to keep me going because I was dealing with all of the legal stuff. I was dealing with all the distribution stuff. I was dealing with all this stuff, and it was just, it was depressing. I mean, there's no other way of saying it, So I would get a call from Tony, or I'd get a call from, and it was James Arnold Taylor plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, and obviously Buffalo Bob. He every day for the last 2 years has sent me a different Bible verse and just sends me a text with a different Bible verse, and just to encourage me, just to keep me going. I remember I went out one year, and Tara Strong had me come over, and I got to just hang out with her and her dog, that big fluff. I don't know if you've seen, but she's got this huge dog, and just, but everybody has been so good and so encouraging, but it did not feel like this day would ever come. But I don't know if I would have been able to make it without the friends that I made. And,
well, now I want to. Can I take over the podcast and ask Scott a question real quick? Is that okay?
Welcome to the Tony podcast.
Forgive me, ladies. I know. Forgive me. All right. So it's been a week, Scott. A little bit over a week now. You've had 2 weekends now of your film being out on Netflix. I know you're on social media all the time because I see your posts and your reactions to people. It's been incredible. I know I can say that for myself, just to see what people have been saying about your movie. So how has it been for you to see now the audience reaction?
It's been amazing. I have people sending me pictures and videos of their kids sitting down watching it, and they're saying they're watching it for their 10th time. It is, I've been answering, this is no lie, I've been answering 2,000 to 3,000 comments a day across every platform. And just to hear people saying, something like, this is exactly what my family needed during this time, makes me feel so good. People ask me if I'm elated, and I can't say yes, because I'd have to be bipolar to go from being so down to go that high. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the middle. I'm happy. I really am happy. I'm just not, I just won a new car and the price is right kind of happy. I'm not jumping up and down, but I am really happy. I'm very thankful, and I'm content. but I'm also nervous because I worry, because this is, again, I don't know what to expect. I don't know is this a success? Is this a success? I mean, what am I to judge it against? What happens next week or the week after? Will this moment just be a moment of time and then gone, and then I never make another movie? I just don't know. There's so many what ifs that my mind is going a little crazy. But I'm trying to stay in the moment, and I'm trying to appreciate every positive thing that I'm seeing and hearing and reading. And
I love that answer, because I think it's totally honest, and it's totally Scott, because because I totally connect with that too, Scott, because I would say too that I'm really elated also. Now I don't do what he does and answer every single text and comment that I get. But I might like it. Ding. I'll do that.
You've been noticed.
But yeah. I mean, I really appreciate it, and it makes me feel wonderful. But what I connect with, and what Scott's saying, is that for 3 years of it looks like it's going to happen, it's going to come out, and then it doesn't, and it's actually worse, somebody's suing you or whatever, and all these kind of legal battles too that happen along the way. You're always kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop, right? Mm-hmm. And I recognize that in what Scott's saying, is there's probably that sense of, this is great, but what's going to happen next? Mm-hmm. Is there a downside to this? And so, but that's the hard thing in life, is that you don't really appreciate, oftentimes the big joys in your life until 2020 hindsight, until you see it later and you look back.
Yeah. I guess I'm experiencing it now. I'm in the middle of it now, so I'll let you guys know in a year or so. Yeah.
Enjoy it, Scott. You deserved it.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks for making it happen.
Oh, you guys are adorable.
We're just gonna have a big group hug here.
Just like the Odd Couple, but but in a nice way, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think odd's a good description for us.
I think so too. I mean, it's a mutual admiration society, really, but we are totally opposite in many, many ways, and that's true. You picked up on that, but we also just really admire each other. And I mean, I guess that's what I love about artists, is that we're also uniquely different. And I look at artists that, and I'll just speak as an artist now, because you go onto Instagram and there's always that sense of, oh my gosh, look at what she's doing, or look what he's doing, and I could never do that. And then, you get a comment from that very same artist about something you post, and they're like, this is amazing, I could never do something like this. And you're like, oh, they think that? They can't think. They must be lying, I mean, there's just like this, that can't be true, because I love them so much. They don't know. And everybody does it. It doesn't matter if you're, a 30-year veteran of the animation industry like myself, or I still, every day, I wake up and I feel like an artist that is struggling to get better and to improve, and wishing I was better all the time. But I think that's what keeps you going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that helps just like everyone feel, sense of like, I guess, everyone, even if you're like well-rounded as an artist, you might have different strengths. You might like things that some other people don't. There's always the background artist versus the character designer and the animator and the in-betweener and all these different, technical parts of the production process, essentially. And like, it's hard to be amazing at everything, and it's hard to both like all the process too. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but yeah, you get what I mean.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
But I just wanted to say to Scott, because I've also been on the ringer as far as, just dealing with a lot of online just stuff in general, and like, going up and high, because we've produced like a several like shorts, not like anything to this level obviously, but I think it's really like, heartwarming that, despite everything, you found your way through it, and you made this like, adorable movie that everyone is just happy to be a part of. And, now it's kind of serving like, whenever it came out is great, but the fact that it came out in 2020 when, like people need an uplifting, something to grab hold to, I think that's kind of like in an odd way a blessing. Like, not that, not that it's good that it got like, waited on, but the fact that, it's always like, it always warms my heart when like art can serve like even a greater purpose like that, essentially, where, you give, meaning to something, that you never intended to, but then when you discover that, you're just like, wow, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than the crew. We did something that affected a lot of different people in different ways. And I think that's kind of the point,
Thank you. I'm hoping so. I mean, my hope was always that what we lacked in budget, we made up for in heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that some of, from my first script to the final, the final shot, I hope that some of that got in there and that people can just see the love that we put into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard because you're competing against $180, $200 million films.
Right.
You're competing against the Pixars and the Disneys, and people expect that level of perfection. And I feel like we just made a Honda Civic, and everybody's used to driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and we're like, yeah, but this is a really solid car. It's a good car, and we made it with love, and it is, and it's just people are so used to these polished, perfect storytelling, perfect, it's been worked and reworked and reworked and reworked for 7, 8, 9 years until it is absolute. And they've got this thing down to a science. And this is my first time, and it's just, and so my only hope is that people can see past the lack of gloss and see the heart behind it. And I'm seeing some of that, but I guess I dare not believe that it's true. I'm still a little hesitant.
You're like on the edge waiting, like, okay, this is great, but like, is something bad going to happen? Because there's just been so much bad. But like, I mean, I think you've kind of fought the battle and you can just relax and, enjoy it. And it seems like from what you're describing that you're already kind of getting that, positive feedback, and it's kind of finding its place, serving its purpose. And Lauren and I discuss this a lot when we're, debating Disney movies and how longevity, and even like, maybe if it does go down from the rankings, after now that's like been out, I don't want to be a downer, but essentially it's like, I think, the children that it impacts, they're the ones that are going to remember it, and they're the ones that are going to be inspired by it. And I think that's kind of also the important thing too.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having us on your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Oh my gosh. Come back again, please.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be back to talk about Animal Crackers 2. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? That's not an announcement.
I've already got it written and ready to go. It's called Animal Crackers 2: The Second Batch.
Nice. There you heard it here.
Guys.
That's right, exclusive.
Yeah, that would be fun. We're just kind of waiting for that call from Netflix.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see.
That would be nice. But yeah, thank you both for having us. It was really fun, and Tony and I hope we didn't hog the whole time. So.
Oh no, you're fine.
You're here to talk, and so go right on ahead. So thank you so much.
All the old school people are usually just like, oh, am I talking too much? And me and Lauren are just like, no, like we could go on for hours. Like this is the best thing ever.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you guys, and you guys are great. So keep it up. Love the podcast. I love podcasters in general, so keep up your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. And to do some cross promotion, Tom and Tony both have an animation podcast as well, so go listen to their podcast.
It's called the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast. It's available on iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah. Where can people find you, Scott, if they want to tell you how awesome your movie is?
You know what? I'm like Batman. Just send up a bat signal. Say Animal Crackers, and I'll find you.
He'll find you. All you got to do is
I'll find you. If I see anything that says Animal Crackers on it, I'm there. But yeah, you could find me on Twitter at @ssava and on Instagram at @ssavaart. And that's enough for me.
That's good enough.
Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful meeting you both.
Yeah, and, wonderful to meet you too.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll come back soon.
Oh yeah,
I'd love to have you back.
Bye.
Whew. Okay, that was awesome. That was a great. I mean, I'm ecstatic with how that interview turned out. So, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Oh,
Kiki?
I always every time I get like fancy people like that, they're like, I don't know if you guys heard, but like Tony and Scott were like, it's an honor to be on my on your podcast, and I'm just like, no, I'm not worthy. Like, I'm not important. I just make videos on YouTube. You guys like actually did important things that I care about. I'm very tunnel vision. Like, I only really care about animation and maybe like people in my life, and that's really it. High school was not fun, or college. I mean, like the first 2 years of college. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's always good to know when you can connect with industry professionals, and then you end up talking to them and you realize how much you can actually talk about the same things, and then you realize, hey, we're all movie geeks, and we're all like animation geeks. We can all talk this stuff, and we're proud of it.
Like, it doesn't get better. And I'll make I'm sure you guys saw it in the video if you guys want to see the video version, but it doesn't get any better than seeing actual keyframes for a Disney movie like on the podcast. Like, I don't know what else like you want from me. Like, this was been like a nervousy episode because I'm just like, oh man, I care about these people, but it turned out really nice, and they're just like you and me, but they happen to get their breaks a little earlier in a different different era of the industry, I guess, essentially. But I don't beat myself up about it too much because COVID. So like, no, I mean, people are kind of hiring, but not really. So I'm just like, I guess I'll just wait till the apocalypse is over. So if you're new, welcome. Thanks for listening to the whole podcast. I assume you did.
I know our episodes run longer, but hey, we try to make it worth your while.
I mean, you can listen to whatever. All my friends who don't listen to podcasts and like, listen to the podcast. I really like it. I'm very happy with it. And they're just like, I don't know. I'm not really a podcast person. I'm just like, oh, okay. So, thanks.
You don't enjoy easy listening? You don't enjoy it just like that, just driving in your car if you're able to go driving at this point in quarantine?
So, but yeah, as usual, make sure you check out the main channel if you're not familiar with that already. We're trying very hard to have some growth going on with it. I think we'll probably do something along the lines later, whatever. But yeah, please subscribe and watch the normal videos, essentially, if you want to. If you want to watch some horse videos and you're not from the horse fandom, I usually say watch them anyway. Not because views on old videos don't really do much, but we'll still watch them. But they're funny, and I have a lot of pulp culture references for people who are like, I don't know what's happening, but haha, she put a meme in there, so that's my legacy. And then for this podcast, it seems like most of our traffic is on YouTube, which is fine. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We put out episodes every Wednesday for the most part, unless I fall asleep, or Lauren does. And but they're on SoundCloud or Spotify or iTunes if that is more convenient. You only really need YouTube for them if you like the pretty loopy graphics that we have, or I don't know when we'll do on-camera stuff, but we'll do like more on-camera-ish episodes after COVID is over, whenever that is. So you can listen to it first, and then you can re-listen to it like with us on screen, or like streaming or something.
Yeah, in the meantime, we're trying to get streaming going, so that way we can hopefully have that kind of in-person interaction, so well as in person as we can get in COVID times, face-to-face time anyway.
Yeah, well, we're shooting for 130K by end of September. I don't know if that will happen, but like, tell your friends, essentially, because I'm working really hard. I'm working really hard trying to grow, and it will be easier once we get momentum. But YouTube, like, ever since like 2016, YouTube is just like, F you, KP, and I'm just like, no, I want people to care about my stuff. And they're just like, but you didn't upload for a long time. I'm like, no. So, spreading the word and especially watching the videos when they come out is good. Oh, speaking of that, one more thing before we stop. So we're doing this new thing now. Now you can get free stuff if you watch the videos when they first come out. So for now, so we upload right now on Thursdays. It might change to Wednesdays, so just keep an eye on the promotional stuff for the channel. But anyway, you usually can find it in the community tab or on Twitter sometimes. But if you comment on the video, a new video within 72 hours of the upload, essentially, you are raffled in to get a free drawing from me or one of the team members. I've been doing them mostly, but it's like a headshot of, rough headshot of any character you want, or if you want more details, then you can probably commission the artist, but you don't have to, obviously. So free things. If you guys want some free things, then make sure your notifications are on and, prove to me that you watch the video. Don't just do it for free things. And then, that's one of the ways I'm trying to give back in a way that's incentivizing. Yay. Okay, Lauren, do you have any other things to add before we end?
Other than stay tuned for the next episode, because we got lots of good stuff in the works, and we are always constantly working. I mean, like KP said, she's working hard, and so the whole team's cranking to bring you some awesome content. So please subscribe, hit that like button, punch that like button in the face like a boss. Hit the notification bell.
Oh, I feel like such a
check out links.
I feel like a sellout, but
check out links in the description.
Yeah, and if you're new too, this is like our 20-something episode, so this is not a new podcast, so you can binge the old episodes if you want to and have something to do. And even learn something.
You'll have plenty of hours.
Yay, because all of the episodes for the most part are educational and funny, quote unquote. So yay, learn some things, come back on Wednesday, watch some videos. Thanks for paying attention to me, I guess. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, come hang out with us anytime, and by anytime I mean anytime that's pre-recorded and already on our playlist.
Please don't.
follow us on Twitter. We have our accounts. I guess everything's linked in the descriptions / social medias. So
we have an Instagram that we use sometimes for the podcast, and then we have our personal stuff. So whatever you feel like, I just say follow me on Twitter because I like when people follow me on Twitter, but, I feel like some people are just like, she doesn't post pony things anymore. Like, I don't know, like, she's abandoned us, and I'm just like, I still do pony videos, just not as often, so don't be mad. Like, the show is over,
Katie,
what do you want from
me?
But yeah, okay.
But yeah. So anyway, thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Animation Kimmunication on YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider. We are really hoping this show makes a difference in how people view animation and media, as well as giving and providing advice for people all over the world who like or want to join the animation or media industry. If you liked what you heard, please remember to subscribe and rate those 5 stars, as well as tell your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our main YouTube channel, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, and turn those notifications on. My name is Scribbler, and you have been listening to Animation Kimmunication.